Hi, my name's Lindy. Welcome to this channel. My website is www.lindycowling.co.uk. Email is info@lindycowling.co.uk. The email would be the one to use for booking sessions. I do have some sessions left for November, and then I am booking into December. So if you wish to have a session with me this year, now is the time to get booking those sessions. I expect that they will be all booked up within the next few weeks otherwise. So before I launch into the video, I hope you are all doing well in this final week of October until we enter November. And before I get started, I want to thank those of you that have already purchased the Solar Transmissions MP3 album that myself and my youngest son have produced, performed on, written, scored and sounded on. I've had some really great feedback so far. It isn't just an ordinary music album. They are activations to release emotions, to bring about change, to inspire transformations. They are, let's say, galactic activations. They are soul activations, hence the name Solar Transmissions. It's not just an album per se, it's more than that. It's it's transmissions, it's activations. Each track has its particular theme behind it, and people are drawn to the same track to play over and over again, and some are drawn to listen to all of them, sort of variations on a theme really. But if you would like to purchase it for yourselves or for Christmas gifts, all you need to do is click on the donate button on my website or on the donate button on this YouTube channel to donate £10 through PayPal. Then drop us an email just with a couple of lines saying that you wish to have the album, and we will send an MP3 copy of that album to your email address. You have 1 week to upload it as an MP3, and then of course you keep it obviously. If you leave it more than a week, it will expire, so the MP3 will no longer be available. That has happened a few times, and as a gesture of goodwill we have resent it again. Really it is up to you when we've sent it for you to upload it or download it in time, because it takes 2 to 3 hours this end to resend it again, so it's laptops running continuously for hours at a time to resend it again. So you have a week to upload it or download it, otherwise it will expire and then you would have to technically donate to order it again. So, having been said, I hope you enjoy it. It's something that you can tap into as and when you like. You'll be drawn to certain tracks, all covering different parts of one's journey. There is another album in the making. We haven't started it yet, but I have already, let's say, uploads, downloads and inspiration of where it's going to go. That will probably be available early next year. It'll be very different to the one we've just done, but that will be self-explanatory at the time. So that having been said, I'm going to launch into the video now, and the title of the video today is Why Fear Materializes in the Twin Flame Experience, or why fear can materialize in a twin flame experience. So, starting from the top and working my way down, when you are having an awakening experience that is connected with the use of an ascension template meaning a template of consciousness that involves the raising of one's consciousness from brain, programmed brain reality, to creative, multidimensional quantum reality in the heart, the switch over from the head to the heart, shall we say, that awakening. When one has tapped into one of the ascension templates involved in that process, such as a twin flame template, all of one's suppressed, buried emotions, all of one's suppressed background, shall we say, subconscious, shall we say, unconscious, shall we say, belief systems, come to the fore, are triggered to the fore, because the activation through something like a twin flame template or twin flame experience that encourages the journey from the head into the portal of the heart makes the unconscious conscious, makes the shadow come to the light, makes the hidden no longer hidden. So these background things that have been ticking away perhaps all of your life are suddenly brought to the fore, often in a very dramatic way. They are brought to the fore not in order to torture you or to promote suffering, but in order to promote consciousness, to make those unconscious patterns no longer unconscious but conscious resolution, bringing the energy from an unconscious, subconscious background way of responding to your reality, largely controlled within that reality, to suddenly creating your reality, and all the patterns, all that was suppressed, all the programming that you've had your whole life can come up very dramatically, very suddenly, in almost like a tsunami of emotion, a tsunami of fear, a tsunami of grief, all these kind of strong, a tsunami of anger, feelings that you can feel actually can all be contributed to the person or the situation that, or the twin flame experience, the twin flame template that has been part of this, shall we say, at the heart of this. So you can put all of the blame and the projection onto the other person or people within the middle of that. So for example, let's say the twin flame, or the ascensionary soulmate, or the matching consciousness, or the spiritual catalyst, or the soul family member, and the list goes on, or the person that you're going through in the ascension experience with. You can project it all in that direction, point the finger all in that direction and say it's them that has caused this. Now, in some ways, you're actually correct, because it has been that stimulation of that consciousness within you by the person, by the experience, by the template, by the consciousness, by the frequency, by the vibration, that has caused the triggering within you. Why has it caused a triggering and a fear within you? Why has it caused anger? Why has it caused angst? All of these things, because those things were within you as a cellular, as a solar, as an energy, vibrational, frequency specific being. So the experience triggers that within you because you had it not only within you, but actually within the families that you've been born into, the bloodline families, the soul families. Sometimes they are not both the same, sometimes there is a crossover between the two, but you were carrying it within you. You were carrying those knee-jerk reactions within you in the largely programmed human linear consciousness that has been for some time on Earth. It was within you. And when you go through a twin flame related experience, whether it is with an actual twin flame or whether you are using the template and are spiritual catalysts for one another, ascensionary soulmates for one another, soul family for one another, matching consciousness for one another, going through an ascension process, one or both of you stimulated by the other. What happens is the unconscious comes up to be made conscious. The separation mindset consciousness comes up to become unified, comes up to become an inner state of union within you. The non-zero point, non-neutral energy comes up to become neutralized and 0 point energy. So all of this is the same thing. All of it means the transition from the head into the heart, and making that journey means the release and the relief of, and the identification of, and the transformation through, and the alchemizing of all of the patterns, the suppressions, the emotions, the belief systems, the programs within you, within the families and the experiences and the life experiences that you are in or have been in, come up through you to be alchemized, to be transformed, to be made conscious. So the other person stimulating, or the other person or people in that dynamic that you're involved with stimulating that, is because you are being encouraged to run higher levels of your own consciousness, to embody higher levels of the consciousness that you are. And it brings up everything that is not of that frequency, not of the more conscious frequency, to be made conscious. And so it comes up, and it can come up as a tsunami of fear and emotion, anger, terror, all these different things, because that's what's going on. And of course, because you're not just being hit on that one level through the individual or individuals that you're connected with, twin flames, ascensionary soulmates, catalysts, soul family, but you're also being hit with all those patterns, not only within your blood and soul family, but also within your cultures, your villages, towns, cities and countries, because we are at a point in our evolution where what you do for yourself in this journey, you are doing for the collective. As you make that decision on a solar level, on a soul level, on a spirit level, on an essence level, on a conscious level, to become more conscious, you are not only clearing your own stuff, you're doing it on the behalf of everybody, so that no longer negative, distorted, inverted patterns of behavior, programming and consciousness no longer get handed down in the soul family or the blood family bloodlines in the collective consciousness, and instead one becomes more conscious and creates one's reality. So what you are doing, going through that process for you, you're actually going through on behalf of everybody. You're encouraging everybody else to do that because it ups your frequency and vibration, which can be heard, sensed, felt, smelt, picked up on genetically, epigenetically, in consciousness, which then gets, let's say, data transferred to everyone and anyone connected to you, and then out to the collective. So you're putting out a higher frequency than you would have done before, that can be picked up and heard, felt, smelt by others, and they can imprint on the embodied template of consciousness you are becoming, that 0 point, neutral, balanced state of consciousness, and it can help everybody else along. So fears can come up because it triggers on a vast level, not just the fears within you, but the fears actually that are carried by your whole lineage and your whole ancestry and your whole solar history. It can bring the whole lot up. And the kind of, let's say, the trick here, how to navigate that, is to recognize, really half of it is recognition of what's going on, and not thinking you're going to get stuck like that, but moving your way through it, moving through what is coming up around it. Sometimes those fears will be, you won't be able to understand what it's about, but it's this stuff. Sometimes they will be very real fears. You might have connected or had an awakening experience with someone whose personality is not very conducive to your personality. They may have a very negative personality. They might not actually be a particularly nice person, and yet they've triggered this awakening within you. And so your fears may be very valid that, wow, I've got this connection with this person that's a real asshole. How am I going to have any kind of future with them? And sometimes you won't be able to have a future with them because they don't have that balance in their personality yet, or may never have it, and yet they've triggered this awakening process in you. So some of those fears may be very real. You may have connected with a psychopath, you may have connected with a sociopath, you may have connected with a narcissist, and yet they've still triggered you through this awakening, through that particular template. So that's also something to bear in mind. But a lot of the fears that come up are to do with those same old patterns, same old programming, same old core soul wounds. Am I going to be abandoned? You know, that real strong programming in you of abandonment, the entire recorded history of you as consciousness when you've experienced abandonment before, slaps you in the face, slaps you around the backside when you go through an experience like this. And sometimes you don't know what the hell's happening. You just know you have this terror which you can't quite articulate. On my YouTube channel, I point you to all the directions in which to look to help this. The classic places, again, are there's a video on my channel called Core Soul Wound, Healing the Core Soul Wound, how you can go through an exercise to release that consciousness, to release that emotion, where you can get caught up in the same old pattern that you keep repeating there. There are other ones on this, one called Stuck, Why Souls Experience This. There's another one on there about the inner child consciousness of you, where people often get triggered into a state of fear and revert back to a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old child within themselves experiencing that. These are all the places to look. These are all the clues. On that YouTube channel of mine, on the YouTube channel that I have, it is a living, existing consciousness template that is moving and changing all the time. And there are clues and signposts all over it on different places to look depending on where you are at and where you're not at, on how to kind of link into those places and ways of freeing up this experience and moving through it. So, you know, to go through a state of fear, to go through a state of feeling abandoned, to go through a state of feeling intense loss, all of these things, let's say, to a certain degree, are par for the course. They're pretty much normal in a vast awakening experience like this, using a template such as Twin Flame Template. Twin Flame Template being in its purest form, not in its impure, distorted, inverted form, much of which is presented on the internet. In its purest form, it is designed to bring perfect equilibrium, perfect balance between your masculine and feminine energy, between what was unconscious and what is now conscious, balancing up your entire energy field so that you become the embodiment of who you truly are in your balanced form. No longer running your reality from the programs, the distortions, the belief systems, the manipulation that you have been brought up in, but actually creating your reality from a level of consciousness in your heart. That is where it's all heading. That is what it's for. But when you are triggered into these awakenings, activated in them, especially through these big templates, such as Twin Flame Template, that rebalancing process doesn't automatically just suddenly come into balance. There is this action that goes on, you know, like a boat that's capsized, or it's tipping left to right, left to right, left to right. Balancing out any polarized stuff, you know, trying to, again, make these patterns come to the fore so that they are resolved, so that you can let go of them, so that they can be healed. And like I say, there are numerous clues on how to do this all the way along the line for the last 6 years on my YouTube channel there. So the fear that you feel in that sense is very real, because you'll have your emotional response to it. Much of it will be linked to your childhood and your background. Much of it will be linked to where you're repeating patterns. Much will be linked to your history as consciousness in all timelines, all realities, including past, present and future, shall we say, all happening now in this moment. All of that, all coming into play here, and all designed really to take you fully into your sovereignty, fully into your empowerment, so that your life and decisions aren't run by this programming, aren't run by this fear anymore. That you are coming into a state of resolution, if you like, from all of those things. So when it triggers a twin flame template, a twin flame experience triggers fears. Those fears are very real, shall we say, and designed actually not to bring you down to your knees, but to allow you to move through them, recognize what the hell is going on, and to become more conscious, making that journey into the heart. Of course, some of those fears, when I say are very real, they might be fears about change. It is a very scary thing for human beings, as well as being very exciting, very scary to anticipate change. Change of one's personal life, change of one's personal circumstances, change of one's career, change of one's body size and shape, change of one's perception, change of one's existence within one's reality. All of these things are exciting and amazing, but are also very scary for human beings, because change requires change, as the name implies. So you might be someone that is within a situation that you're changing so much within that you know the situation you're in has also got to change, like the career you're in or the marriage you're in. You know that there's got to be transformation within it, because you've shifted so much, your perception has changed so much, you feel differently, you see differently, you exist differently. And the thought of the consequences, if you like, of the change within you can also create a lot of fear. Because, as human beings, we can be excited about change, but the majority of human beings cling very hard. Even if they know something's dysfunctional or not working, they will cling to the known. They will cling to what is known. It's almost like a survival mechanism kicks in. So that's fear as well. So just to summarize here, there are a number of reasons why these fears come up. It's pretty much par for the course why they come up, and the different things that go with it. Or sometimes you're replaying stuff, sometimes you're replaying belief systems and programs, sometimes it's the actual fear of change, sometimes you're going through this experience, and because of your belief systems and programming, you sometimes feel the experience has to be a certain way, and if it doesn't go that way, it triggers another lot of fear within you. All of these sorts of things, it knocks back right to the bloodlines, family bloodlines, soul bloodlines, out to the collective. All the time we're clearer for the bigger picture as well here, as well as within us. So that's the reason it's happening. Is not... let's say it's not a bad sign in itself, or that something's gone wrong. This is just par for the course. And of course, sometimes there are, like I say, some legitimate, shall we say, real strong common sense reasons for having that fear. About, you might have red flags about the personality you're connected with that's triggered this experience in you. You might have red flags about certain characteristics, or... is this going to be the best thing for me? There are all sorts of things that are swimming in the mix here. Listen to yourself, listen to your discernment. Yes, you can have large waves of these fears come up. It doesn't mean to say you have to ignore them. You have to actually wade through them, swim through them, shall we say, and traverse through them, transform through them in order to let them go and free them up. Some of those fears may have a validity in which you have to make changes, and you may have to make changes to the dynamic of the situations you are in, or the person that you're connected with. There are variations on a theme here, but this is why these sort of things come up. They come up and trigger on a huge scale, depending on how much polarization is within you as a soul, depending on the families you've been born into, depending on your life experience. You know, there might be someone else who doesn't get it as dramatically as that might have little traces of fear come up, or might have no fear come up at all. That's unusual. Usually there is stuff that comes up, whether it lasts for weeks, months or longer, there's usually stuff that comes up. But don't panic about the panic. Don't go into fear about the fear, because it just makes more fear. It just throws coal onto that fire, fuel onto that fire. Move through it, address what's coming up, look at the places I've suggested on this YouTube channel, get the assistance where you need it, and keep going onward, upward and inward. And on that note, I'm going to love you and leave you, short but sweet. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you are well in this final week of October. I will see you again soon. I am out on Patreon. If anyone would like to join me on Patreon every month, I'm putting out weekly videos on there. Very different to what I'm doing on here. It's very intimate. Activations on a more intimate level, very much geared around the energy space of that group. You know, where I'm very happy to welcome more patrons there. Very much appreciate the ones I've already got, and you're welcome to join me on there as well. And don't forget to check out the album. I'm very pleased with the work that we've done there, and I know it will hopefully inspire and help a lot of people. So I wish you so much love. Take care. See you guys probably in about a week's time. See ya. Bye.